Level. Ring with a bell. We're really recording that?
Well, we're always, we're recording.
Oh, that's right. You've got an editor. When I did my podcast, I literally would push record and start and push stop and start. And that was it. Like, that was all we did.
Yeah, I figured we could just have like 40 minutes of just us goofing around. And then the editor could find like just a 2-minute slice of that for the intro.
Might be a tall order to find something worthwhile in 40 minutes of us just bantering, finding 2 minutes that's worth a damn.
That's what they get paid for. That's their job.
So is this actually going to drop before Christmas?
It will, yeah.
I just said drop. Does that make me like...
You've aged yourself. Yeah.
I've aged myself?
Yeah.
Oh, I think that's damn it. I thought that was going to be like a legit...
They did it again just then with a legit. It's called lit now. I don't think they use
lit?
the word.
What?
Yeah.
I thought lit was something totally different.
No, that's the whole point. That's why it's...
So legit is now lit.
I think so. I'm not really sure exactly what lit applies to.
I think you're just making stuff up trying to be cool. That's what I think.
I'm glad our generation didn't do that. Do you remember what we're talking about?
Christmas.
Okay, yeah, that's right. So let me do our intro, and then the music comes on like...
Yeah. And a 3, and a 2, and a 1.
Hey there, fellas. Welcome back to an Ask a Man episode on the Wolf and Iron podcast. This is a special Merry Christmas episode with my friend Brandon here. And really, it's just an excuse for me to have you over here and see you. And I don't know if you would have come if I was just like, Brandon, come here and hang out and talk to me for an hour.
Yeah, I don't think my wife would be down with that. Like, I think maybe I've made the whole podcast guest appearance a little bit bigger in her mind than it deserves to be.
Thousands of men are going to listen to it. It's going to be
at least 20 guys.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, I think she's good with us hanging out.
Okay.
Well, she's good with us hanging out anyhow. You're good people, so you're a good influence versus a lot of the other dirtbags that are mostly in my family.
Yeah, that hopefully don't listen to this episode, right?
If they do, they need to know where they stand.
There you go. Well, I'm glad to have you here. And before I forget, Merry Christmas, not only to you, but also to all of our listeners.
Merry Christmas to you, Mr. Yarbrough.
Been exciting to have you on the podcast more this year. And hopefully in 2019, we'll have even more of us getting together, talking about manly things.
Well, my schedule should be freeing up considerably after January 1st, so that's a good thing.
That is good. So this episode, I thought we'd talk about some easy things. Not that most episodes are hard, but you know what I mean.
I don't take a whole lot real serious.
These are these are softballs, is what I would say. So the first thing I wanted to talk about was, this is a question that one of the guys in our Facebook group posted out a while back, actually, I think probably around when Thanksgiving was just around the corner. And that is how to deal with family and traveling, or maybe in-laws coming in for the holidays. And then I thought we would do something about maybe Christmas traditions that you've started or want to start with your family, and maybe even how to handle the whole like Santa Claus versus Jesus kind of thing. Like, how does Santa Claus work in our worlds, along with, trying not to lose Jesus as the true meaning of Christmas, that kind of stuff. So
yeah,
I'll let you open it up. What do you got for how do we deal with the traveling and in-laws and all that kind of stuff?
So I usually don't travel for the holidays. Usually I've got 4 kids, so people come to me. It's kind of nice.
Mm-hmm.
But with the in-laws thing, it's actually kind of interesting because of the situation I'm in. So very recently, I spent the first 12 years of my marriage trying to contort who I am as a person to fit into an acceptable box for my in-laws to put me in. Like, my wife and I come from really, really, really different backgrounds. She comes from a very rule-driven, structured, traditions and all this different stuff upbringing.
Yeah.
And I come from a do whatever you want to do, have fun, make jokes, cut up, laugh, have a good time. And there's not a lot of, there weren't a lot of consequences in my upbringing. Right. So we come from 2 very different worldviews. And on account of that, I buck authority often.
Yep.
I don't have a lot of social contracts that I try to uphold or allow other people to hold me to. And that's caused a lot of friction in the relationship between specifically me and my mother-in-law. My father-in-law is very laid back, very, very easygoing. But me and my mother-in-law, pretty much oil and water. And as recently as maybe even 6 months ago, I decided, you know what? I'm done. I'm not going to be any different for you than I am for anybody else. This is me. This is who I am. This is what I'm about. If you don't like that, I'm okay with that.
Right.
And, we're going to spend time around each other because, I've got 4 of her grandbabies and all that good stuff. But like, I'm not going to try to be something that I am not to make somebody else happy when in reality, it wasn't good enough anyhow. So why the hell am I bothering? So right. I've gotten to a place here, like we just went through Thanksgiving and we're getting ready to go through Christmas. And it's actually been very refreshing for the for the relationship and just the environment in general, because now we have an understanding. We this is who I am. This is the way it's going to be. If you don't like that, I'm very sorry about that, but there's nothing I can do about it. I'm always cordial and pleasant and polite and respectful, but there's just a huge personality conflict and zero flexibility or change on her side. I feel like a ton of flexibility and change on my side. I'm like, why am I doing this? Why bother? Who cares?
Yeah. Did you guys actually talk about this at any point?
I've tried to have this conversation, and it's a very passive-aggressive approach where it's a problem. We both know it's a problem, but I'm the only one that wants to talk about it because I actually enjoy conflict because conflict brings resolution to problems. But she just does not. I've tried several times to have a conversation and realize very quickly that that's just not who she is as a person, and it gets weird to say the least. So yeah, I've tried. No victories there. That's why I'm just where I'm at.
So I think it's tough with family because there are a lot of relationships in life where you could say, I'm just not going to hang with that person anymore, right?
Yeah.
But
I've tried that with you several times.
But I need you on the podcast, Brandon. Thousands of men will listen to it. It'll be epic. I think the challenge with family is that they're always going to be there. You can't really get rid of them in most cases, right? Or especially in the case of grandparents and that kind of stuff.
You can kill them, but that raises all kinds of problems.
Yeah, there's ethical issues potentially with that.
Dilemmas.
Prison issues.
Yeah, it's weird.
But, it's just tough to manage that situation where you've got to be with this person at various points throughout the year, right? Sometimes it's the family that you only see once a year. Sometimes it's the grandparents who live close by, and you see them
7 minutes
weekly.
Down the road, brother.
Yeah. So you see them all the time. And I think that, obviously your feet just touched my feet. That was weird.
All right, you like it. Keep going.
That was a good test to see if I can keep my train of thought while people are touching me in weird places. I think you do, if you have the opportunity, like you've said, to sit down and talk about it, that's really the best thing, right? Hey, look, I'm different than you. You're different than me. We probably wouldn't be hanging out if it wasn't for the fact that we're family. Yeah. But, here's the things that I like about you. Tell me the things you like about whatever. Bring some conflict resolution to the, right? Be a peacemaker if you can. Yeah. But if that doesn't happen, I think it does stay just kind of awkward where you're just like, I hate, you're probably not in this situation, but I know a lot of guys who are, where they're like, I can't stand when your mom comes over, or I can't stand it when your dad comes over, right?
And I refuse to go there. I'm not going to do that to my wife. I'm not going to do that to my kids. But I can't stand what I allowed it to do to me. And I did that because I thought it was benefiting my wife. Mm-hmm. And, peace is beneficial especially for the lady folk, but it wasn't making peace, and I just did it for so long. It was just force of habit. I was like, I'm not doing that anymore. Anyhow, continue. I'm sorry.
No, you're good. So you just took extreme ownership there. Is what I heard.
Yeah. Get after it.
That's right. Yeah.
Good evening, Echo. If you get that joke, you're awesome.
That's right. So I think that's a big part of it. I think there's also, though, at some point you do have to draw boundaries and be clear about them. So for the people where the mother-in-law comes over, it's usually the mother-in-law, but it might be the father-in-law. The in-laws come over and they're trying to basically raise your kids differently than you do, or they're always telling you in front of your kids especially how you're dropping the ball and you're not doing a good job, that kind of stuff, right? that's where you've got to have the conversation of, listen, this is how we do things in my house. This is not how you do things in your house. I understand that. This is maybe not how you raised my wife or whatever. But that conversation has got to be had. And I think a lot of guys avoid that.
Yeah. And honestly, it's not that bad. I mean, I started to get a little bit pissed off at you for just even suggesting that was going on.
No. I'm not saying that's in your case. I'm saying for the guys that there are people who are in that situation, where their grandparents are coming in and, they're basically trying to run the show.
Yeah, that's freaking horrible. You've got to draw a line in the sand on that. I mean, you have to. You are raising your kids. You are husbanding your wife. This is your family. It's very clear, especially from a biblical perspective, that your parents are not your main focus anymore. Like your relationship that you have built with your family is your number one priority. And you have to draw a line in the sand on that stuff. You cannot stand for it. You are not upholding your responsibility as a man, a husband, or a father if you allow that to go on in your house, period.
So you mentioned something that took me a while to figure out, and that is, if you have the kids, you've got the power, basically.
Boom.
And here's what I found is that while you might be thinking grandma and grandpa aren't going to come around anymore if I tell them, here's the line in the sand.
Yeah, they will.
My kids are gluten-free, deal with it.
Yeah.
Whatever it is. My kids don't get 6 hours of media like I did, whatever the line in the sand happens to be.
Yeah.
Grandparents will still come around because you've got the kids.
Yeah.
I mean, they still want to see the grandbabies, and they're going to abide by whatever the rules are. And if they're not, let them deal with it.
Yeah.
That's what I say.
And there are grandparents that are that stubborn that they'll sacrifice the relationship with their grandkids because of some moral line that you cross or something. I don't know, it's weird. But, at some point, one of y'all is right. At some point, one of y'all is responsible for how those kids turn out as human beings. And it's always the parents.
Yep.
And if your parents are screwing your children up, that is your fault because you're not drawing that line. You're not creating those boundaries and setting up the proper parameters to have a fully functioning family.
Yeah, that's good. Extreme ownership.
That's right.
So from my side, it's been a little bit different, I think, because we moved to Charlotte away from Tennessee back in 96, 98 time frame. Started having kids about that time. And anyhow, my family's all back in Tennessee. Summer's family, my wife's family's here, was here kind of local. And they've kind of moved more up north since then. But her mom and dad were here local, and her grandparents and stuff were all closer to us than my family, right? Mm-hmm. So we'd end up going and traveling to see basically the grandparents, almost like Thanksgiving and Christmas. It was nuts, right?
Yeah.
We did that for a long time. Now, I didn't get a chance to have my side of the family really involved in my kid's life just because of the distance. And so I didn't have to kind of like cut apron strings and any of those kinds of things on my side. But we did have some disagreements, even kind of at a distance of, the fact that our kids they were both born on the autism spectrum. We were just trying to figure out how does gluten and diet and different things kind of play into it. And all this stuff was really new to us, is new to everybody. And it's one of those things where you tell grandparents, like, we're going to homeschool and our kids don't eat wheat anymore and they're not allowed to have food coloring. And they just think you've just gone crazy, right?
Yeah.
And they didn't like that. And so we basically had to say, look, that's the way we're going to do things. And like it or not, you can't tell my wife that she's doing a bad job, especially that underhanded kind of passive-aggressive sort of ways.
Yeah, I don't do passive-aggressive, man.
No.
We're going to either say it or we're going to not say it.
But once we finally realized, once we got that done, and we also realized that we had the grandkids, we've got the power, and we started staying at home, the holidays got a lot more simple for us. And, it's nice. We actually just have friends and family come over. You've not been invited, but other people in the neighborhood come over for Thanksgiving or Christmas or something like that. And, we're always, doing stuff with the people that are local. So
yeah. And I'm honestly, I don't want to be a jerk, but if you would have invited me, I would have turned you down because I've got her almost entire family here and my almost entire family within a half hour of our house. We're so freaking covered up with family crap to do. It's like I don't have time for friends.
Yeah.
Not that you're not a priority because I like you better than most of my family, but it is what it is.
No, I get you.
Yeah, it's interesting the way this stuff all plays out. I had a thought there. I'm just basically saying words while I try to reclaim it in my brain, and I've got nothing.
Don't worry, I'll make sure to edit this out.
No, I think you should leave it in. This is gold. Brandon rambling, trying to remember what he was going to say for 5 minutes. Laughter. You're the best medicine ever.
I think my takeaways from this conversation is, one, you got the kids, you got the power. Two, even if you don't have kids, you still got to have the conversation of, this is my family now. Mm-hmm. This is how we do things.
Yeah.
And you've got to have the hard conversations with the people that you don't get along with.
Yeah.
Ideally.
And there's kind of an interesting thing too, is like, everybody makes mistakes when they're raising kids. I am making mistakes raising my kids, 100%.
Yep.
Sure of it. No doubt about it. And your spouse's parents made mistakes when they were raising your spouse.
Yeah.
And I think identifying those, that sounds kind of arrogant. Like, I'm going to fix all the stuff your parents screwed up. But trying to help your spouse work through the gaps in their character on account of the way they were raised, I think is a duty of a spouse. Like, I was raised very crude and boisterous, and I put a lot more emphasis on having fun and making jokes than I did on being considerate of people's feelings.
This is all the things I like about you.
Yeah, I know. Most guys do.
This is what makes you you. I don't know if there's anything left if you take that away.
Usually have a problem, except for the really cool chicks, but I'm not married. I shouldn't say that. I'm married to a really cool chick. She's just a different kind of cool. Anyhow.
Good recovery.
So, yeah, I don't think she would see it that way, but whatever. Good thing this ain't for the ladies. But anyhow, and she was raised in a situation where she never had to think for herself. Her mom thought of everything and fed her every decision she ever had to make. And when we first got married, simple decisions that needed to be made or things needed to be figured out, she'd be picking up the phone to call her mom. And like a month after our honeymoon, she was going to call her mom. I said, what the hell are you doing?
We got this.
And she said, it was something simple that I knew the answer to. And she's calling her mom, and I'm standing right in front of her. And I was like, I know how to do that. Like, let's try to figure it out ourselves first and then seek outside advice.
Yeah, right.
And now, opposite end of the spectrum, I get myself into a lot of situations where I'll try to fix something or do something or whatever, because I was raised to be just completely independent, do it yourself, figure it out, don't ask questions. And, that's caused a lot of problems in my life.
Yep.
So it's we need each other, I need my wife needs me, and we make each other better. But you just have to make sure you're not focusing too much on, I'm going to fix you, because that crap don't work.
Yeah, no, that definitely doesn't work.
Yeah.
Yep. So I think this is a good tie-in to traditions, because
I was going to say, that didn't have anything to do with Christmas at all.
No, but you see how I brought it back around.
Yeah, you did. That's why you're the host, and I'm just the goon here on the couch.
But it's a good tie-in to traditions because, coming from different family backgrounds, my family dynamics during Christmas was, on my dad's side, we had somebody dress up. This would be a spoiler for anybody, any of my cousins who haven't figured this out yet, but one of the uncles would dress up as Santa Claus and give out all the presents.
You've got people in your family member that are in alignment with the demographic of the people that listen to this podcast who might still believe in Santa Claus?
You never know. Sometimes they tune in. I think maybe they would tune in to see, like, has cousin Mike made it yet? So therefore we could ask him for money.
Are we talking about children, or are we talking about adults?
No, these would be adults.
Okay.
I'm just trying to cover my bases there.
But there are adults in your family that might still believe in Santa Claus. That's what I'm getting at.
Yeah, it's a possibility.
I want to go to your next family reunion. Do that. Make that happen.
It'd be great to dress you up like Santa Claus, because they would have no clue. They'd be like, Uncle 1's here, Uncle 2 here.
Yep.
Yeah.
Holy cow. All my uncles are in the presence of Santa Claus for the first time in my life.
Go ahead. But somebody would dress up like Santa Claus, and gifts would be handed out to all the kids and that kind of stuff. And so it was very much a Santa Claus, Rudolph, all the kind of typical, and it was a Catholic family. So there was like Jesus hanging on the wall while Santa Claus is, coming in. And
Jesus is there like with his palm in his face.
He's like, what about me?
I'm like, what the crap? It's my birthday. Who's this guy?
And I'm not saying that there's no room for Santa in the thing. That's what I want to talk about. But I was very much more just okay with it. All just crosses over. That's how I grew up.
Yeah.
And there were no serious traditions in terms of like get together, bake cookies. That we would watch these shows every Christmas. None of that stuff. It was basically just hang out, have fun, do whatever. On my mom's side, Freudian slip. on my wife's side,
weirdo,
her family, were she would be much more the kind of like, let's get together, let's bake cookies, let's play board games, let's not watch anything on TV, and let's all play music together or whatever, which sounds really wholesome and nice. It never really worked out like that, but that would be where her heart would be.
Yeah,
and some of the things probably her grandparents would have done with her.
Yeah. Before TV was even invented, and they realized how awesome it is. I'm just kidding.
That's right. And so when we kind of came together, it was really difficult for us to establish any kind of traditions that we would both agree on. It actually still is a challenge. Now that our kids are 16 and 19, we've been married for 22 plus years, and it's still a challenge for us to figure out, like, what do we all like to do together?
Yeah.
And so I think some of the, I don't think they're lame traditions. I like them a lot, but some of the traditions that we have would be, we watch Elf at least once a year. We watched it last night, actually.
Got to do that.
We go see Christmas lights up in McCadden Ville. Do you guys go to McCadden Ville?
We used to until it became a huge pain in the butt. I used to live right there.
Yeah. So for you guys who don't know, McCadden Ville it's
amazing, but there's about 10 million other people that think it's amazing too.
Yeah.
So it's a pain
so
in
if you
the
can
butt.
imagine a town from basically 1950s, that the electric company would pay for the Christmas lights to be put up in the entire town.
Yeah.
And you could drive through, and it's ridiculously cool, and it's a tradition, but there's a lot of people who go through there.
Yeah.
And so you just get in a line of cars.
Yeah, there's one road that runs through McCadden Ville, and it runs from the interstate down to another main thoroughfare.
Yep.
And it is, I'm not kidding, it is absolutely beautiful.
Yeah.
It's awesome. Kids love it, and it's just ridiculous. But Charlotte, it's right outside of Charlotte.
Yeah.
Charlotte has grown so much, and everybody wants to go do it. It's like, oh my gosh, if I could do it at like just as the sun's going down on like a Tuesday, that's not bad. But Friday, Saturday, don't take like little kids. Don't take little kids, because it's like ridiculous. They're in the car for 3 hours trying to get through this 1 mile stretch of road.
Yeah, and if you are in the area, this is a little plug, I guess. This podcast brought to you by McCadden Ville.
Brought to you by the McCadden Ville Christmas lights.
If you are in the area, a good way to kind of do this is to just park somewhere and get there early. Walk around, and you'll enjoy it a lot more. But we do that. We always have a Christmas tree that we go pick out and that kind of stuff. And but we don't like to decorate. Me and the boys, we don't like to decorate stuff.
It's the worst.
We need some girls in the house. But
my kids still like to decorate. My kids are still little, so they still like to decorate.
Yeah. So anyhow, we don't have a lot of great Christmas traditions.
Yeah.
Every year we kind of do for Christmas, we do sort of like a Hobbit feast where we just cook a lot of little things and just eat all through the day.
It's interesting.
Yeah, and then people come by and they bring stuff. I got a friend actually that cooks some awesome barbecue. He'll usually bring that by on Christmas. So that gets eaten.
That's the day of Christmas?
Yeah, usually. Yeah,
oh.
Yeah, or really close to. But we just don't have a lot of like, and I really think that the female influence is lacking in my family, which has hindered some of that. But anyhow, what do you guys do?
It's kind of interesting. You and I are really in the same place on that.
Okay.
I'm actually reinitiating a tradition that I remember from when I was a little kid, that I think it went away when my grandpa died, which I was like 6 or 7 when my pap died.
Yeah.
But I can remember as a very young child, we would always eat fried oysters on Christmas Eve.
That's really strange.
It is really strange.
I mean, I can't connect that to like the North Pole or anything.
I think I grew up in a very Italian area, and the Italians do the Feast of the Seven Fish. They actually say fishes, which that's not the plural of fish, which drives me crazy. The Feast of the Seven Fishes on Christmas Eve, and I think maybe my pap only liked oysters out of all the things that were in that, so he adopted what he liked.
Hang on, no. So fishes is actually a plural form if there's more than one type of fish. So if it's a school of fish, say like goldfish, then it could be fish. But if it's like you got a tuna and a salmon and an oyster and a whatever, then it's fishes. Yeah.
Huh.
You're welcome, everybody.
That you just blew my mind.
Yeah, but I don't know if they have different types of fish every day.
There's 7 different. There's supposed to be 7 different types of fish.
Well, see, there you go.
Which a lot of them are crustaceans and stuff like that, but they just call it all fish because
whatever.
They're Italians are dumb. Whatever. That's a joke. It's a joke.
Yeah, we love Italians.
There's probably an Italian or two listening to this podcast. But anyhow, so we did that, and I actually this year. My mom is coming. She's going to spend the night at my house, wake up with my kids and all that stuff for Christmas Day. And I was like, Mom, we need to fry oysters. And she's like, oh, that's a great idea. So we're doing that this year. We did this thing a few times where we would go up and stay at a place called the Pine Bridge Inn in Spruce Pine, North Carolina. They've got a package. It's an old schoolhouse.
Wait, I went there with you guys.
Did you?
1 year, yeah.
Yeah, you did.
I went with you guys. Yeah.
Yeah, so we did that a couple times, and then I went several years of extreme financial hardship and wasn't able to do that anymore. But that, like, we talk about that all the time. Like, we need to start doing that with our kids. And Samara will be 2 next Christmas, almost 3 next Christmas, so we'll start doing that again. I forgot you had done that with us.
That was actually one of the best Christmas tree buying experiences I ever had. Now, my wife has a different view on it because it was cold as all get out.
It was really cold.
And which is why the boys and I loved it, because we were like, it's dangerous. We're up there getting a Christmas
tree. We might die out
tree.
here. This is a blast.
Yeah. But, it was, I loved it. I thought it was great.
Yeah. So we're going to start doing that again next year, and you're definitely invited to come with us.
All right.
Only caveat is we also just made the decision we're going to start using an artificial tree next year.
What are you going to do with the tree you go up there to get?
I'll probably donate it to somebody or something. I don't really know, but we're going to give it to somebody. But
I think you know what? I'm just going to go out here and say I think it's a bad idea for the artificial tree.
Mike, I agree with you 100%. Except
this is what retired people do.
I'm getting close, brother. I've only got several decades till I retire. I don't think I'll ever retire. But I like the idea of an artificial tree better because I don't know if you've heard, but I've adopted a campaign of aggressive self-preservation since my little incident.
Yeah.
And have you ever burned a Christmas tree?
Oh, yeah. They're ridiculous.
And
awesome.
That's inside your house.
That's true.
And I don't care how much water you put in the base of that tree stand, they still dry out. They still burn like hell. So just, I don't know. It just makes me feel better. Having a girl really changed me. Like, I was like, oh my gosh, I have to defend and protect and be careful and be safe with this little girl.
Yeah.
Where with my boy, like, they'll get out. They know where the windows are. You know what I mean? So we're going to an artificial tree, but we're going to do the tradition. We're just going to donate the tree to somebody. We'll find somebody that needs it.
I'm actually worried that my Christmas tree at home is on fire at this point. It's dry as can be.
Is there anybody home?
Dogs.
You got insurance?
Yeah.
Care about the dogs?
Nah.
Got a doggy door?
No. I mean, I do care about the dogs, but I feel like there would be like the opportunity for them to escape. They could burn a hole.
An opportunity for them to be heroes.
Yeah, that's true.
Burn a hole in what?
Like if there was a hole that could burn, the Christmas tree burns a hole like in the front door or something like that, and the dogs could run out in time. I mean, animals, they got instincts and stuff. That's what I'm counting on.
They also need oxygen, and most people that die in a fire die of smoke inhalation.
That's not going to happen to my dogs.
Your dogs are badass.
That's what I'm talking about.
Anywho.
Let's wrap this up so I can get home.
Merry Christmas from Animal Kingdom. Yeah, so we want to start doing that Christmas tree thing, the fried oysters, and we went up to my uncle's cabin last weekend and did like my side of the family's Christmas 2 weeks early, but whatever, at the cabin. And man, that was just awesome. There was like 35 people there, people sleeping everywhere. All just all piled in the house. Huge meal. Everybody's we're shooting guns and blowing up trees with tannerite and just all kinds of really fun, cool, Christmassy / military a little bit. I don't know. It was a good weekend, so that's a good tradition we're going to start. We've definitely haven't been consistent with that, but we've definitely done that a few times. So I love that. But man, as long as the family's together, like I'm a really unstructured type of guy.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people get focused on, well, we didn't have the smelts this year, so the 7 fishes was ruined. And I'm like, you're getting hung up on stupid stuff. Focus on being together with your family, having a good time, loving each other, and celebrating any way you can.
I think my wife and I were talking about this last night as we're watching Elf, and we were like, it just doesn't feel like Christmas yet for us. And we hit this about every year.
Really?
And I think it's tough because, we start doing because of the retail sales with Rustic and Maine, we begin thinking about Christmas in October. But that's not, I don't get burned out. I don't feel burned out on Christmas.
Yeah.
There's something that's always been missing. And I think for us, as much as I'm an introvert, we're talking about this, I think I really miss having large family get-togethers. Because like I was saying, I grew up with my family. All my cousins, uncles, everybody, aunts, we're all around and doing stuff. And that was Christmas. It was family. We're all together. And it is nice to be at home during Christmas. But I do miss having large meals and get-togethers and all that kind of stuff with everybody. And so I think for me, that's one of the things that's really missing for Christmas. I understand what you're saying about as long as you got your family, you should be good, you should be happy. But there's an aspect of just seeing other people, experiencing it with everybody else. I love Christmas Eve service at whatever church I happen to be going to, and
church pinball.
Yeah, and just experiencing that with people. So
yeah. I think my tradition is going to be and always has been making the most out of whatever situation life happens to have me in at that time on December 24th and 25th of that year.
Yeah.
I spent Christmas. Here's a sad story.
Okay.
I spent Christmas, I think it was 2002. So my dad died in 99. My mom moved from Pennsylvania to North Carolina in 2001, I think, 2001 or 2002. And me and my brother were living alone. My brother was finishing high school and I was in college, and we were living alone in the house that my dad built. And my brother had a girlfriend at the time, and we were both working at Circuit City. I was selling TVs. He was in customer service.
Yeah.
When I was in college. And we had to be there until late on the 24th,
right,
off the 25th, be there super early on the 26th. So we stayed home. Had no family in the area. We stayed home. And my brother and I woke up, and it was just him and I. And it was and he had a girlfriend at the time, so he left. And I literally spent Christmas all by myself one year.
That's like Home Alone.
And no, it was not like Home Alone.
Okay.
I wish somebody would have come and tried to break into my house. It would have at least been fun. But it was like so depressing being all by myself on Christmas with nobody to talk to, nobody to celebrate with, just me. Like, I don't know. I'm an introvert, but I definitely don't want to spend the holidays all by myself. And going through that made me realize, if I got one freaking person in my life to celebrate Christmas with, to celebrate the birth of Christ with, we're going to celebrate, and we're going to celebrate our butts off, and we're going to have I'm going to make the most of it no matter where I happen to be or what I happen to be doing at that time. And the following year, I literally had to tell my boss, like, look, I'm not going to be here on the 26th or the 27th. I'm going to North Carolina. Oh, you can't do that. You can't have that time off. I said, listen, I am the only person that works in this store. Well, me and my brother are the only two people that work in this store that do not have family in this immediate area. Yeah. I am not spending Christmas the way I did it last year. I am going to North Carolina. If that means you have to fire me, you can go ahead and do that. And I was the number 2 salesman in the store at the time, so they didn't fire me. But I literally had to throw it out there like that, because I was like, I'm not doing that again. Like, I'm just not going to do it again. So no matter what, no matter where I'm at, who I've got with me, if it's just me and you, we're going to have fun, we're going to celebrate, and we're going to make the most of it.
Yeah, that's a good perspective.
Yeah.
What about the whole Jesus and Santa Claus crossover thing? How do you guys do Santa Claus in your house? Do your kids think Santa Claus is real? Because you still got young kids.
Yeah.
Or did you just totally spoil it for them?
This was a conversation we had to have when we first got married too, because my wife grew up in the uber Christian legalistic world where there is no Santa Claus, which obviously there is no Santa Claus. Hate to break it in, but still holding on to that one. But a lot of when I was an atheist, I thought Jesus and Santa Claus went in the same category. So I get that perspective as well.
Yeah.
But we did the Santa Claus thing for a few years. My youngest son is 7 now, and we'll probably start it up again when Sammy gets aware of what's going on, because she's just now she'll be 2 next month. We did the Santa Claus thing, and write the letter and the freaking elf on the shelf, and Dad, why didn't the elf move last year? Well, the elf took a day off. It's all this crap. Yeah, it's like a house of lies. We live in an empire of lies. So we did the Santa thing, but at the very first little inkling of doubt in my oldest son's eyes, I was like, "Do you really believe in Santa Claus?" He's like, "I don't think so." I was like, "Yeah, you're right. There's no Santa Claus." And he's like, "Yeah, it's not a big deal." So it's not like there's a lot of families where they like worship Santa Claus.
Yeah.
Like Santa Claus is God, and we have to, hold on to that faith until you're 12. You know, your voice starts to change. That's when you stop believing in Santa Claus. So we dropped that bomb on my oldest son, and then he told my middle son, which is only 15 months younger than him, which he was pretty with it. And then my youngest kid, he's like, whatever. Am I still getting presents? You know. So we 86 Santa Claus a lot earlier than most families do, I think. And we'll do it for Samara when she's, you know, I still don't think she knows what's going on. So probably next year we'll start doing some Santa Claus stuff with her, and I'll kill one of my kids if they tell her there's no Santa. One of my boys if they tell her there's no Santa Claus. But because it is fun, right?
It is fun, and I think that's what I'm seeing though. Maybe it's just the circles that I travel in. I don't know, but it seems like fewer and fewer people want to tell their kids about Santa Claus in any kind of, like they don't, almost as if they think it's wrong to have that pretend time with your kids of, you know, oh, there's a Santa Claus and there's Rudolph and the reindeer and all that kind of stuff. And I think they think that it's like confusing to the kids. Like they can't understand how Jesus and Santa Claus might go to, I mean, most kids aren't asking these deep questions like, well, if there's a Santa Claus, then, you know, if he's not real, then Jesus must not, you know, most kids aren't thinking that. They're just having fun with the season. And they think, okay, there's a Santa Claus and there's also Jesus. But I think people, I don't know if like parents have like a more of a conscience now, or we're just stupid, but it's like we don't like it's wrong to just have fun with our kids and allow them to believe things that aren't true.
Well, think about the way you and I grew up versus the way especially my kids, even more so than your kids grew up, or are growing up. They've got access to information at their fingertips. I mean, I didn't have an iPad when I was 7.
Yep.
My kids could Google, is Santa Claus real? Probably find out the truth in about 30 seconds if they wanted to. So maybe that's part of it, or I don't know. It's a tough one.
So for us, we kind of fought back and forth on this whole Santa Claus thing. And I think it was probably confusing because on some years I was like, I won the argument and I was like, yes, Santa Claus is going to be real this year. And then like the next year I was like, no, Santa Claus is not real. And then, you know,
well, now that's just confusing.
It was big time.
Mom and dad look bipolar.
And it was, it was really hard on the kids because they were like, well, is he real? Is he not real?
What's toying with their emotions.
Yeah. And it would have been better for just, you know, for us to either say, nah, you know, he's not real, but let's just pretend, right? Or something.
Yeah.
Because, and you can do a Christmas without Santa Claus. I think that's the other side of the coin too. You can just say Santa Claus is not real. We're just celebrating Jesus' birthday and we're giving gifts. But I think there is something that's kind of sweet, and maybe it's just because of my own childhood, growing up with Santa Claus and with, you know, all the different characters and stuff like that, where I just kind of enjoy it. And
I'm not anti-Santa.
We just kind of mix it in as like there's Christmas season, and then there's, you know, Christmas. That's kind of, or there's, you know, like the winter season, Christmas season. Santa Claus mixed in there because of Saint Nick and things like that, and then there's actual Jesus's birthday. You know,
yeah, which was probably realistically in the springtime, but we adopted a pagan holiday. The Catholic Church did because I guess Jesus by himself wasn't good enough, so we had to adopt a whole bunch of crap to get the pagans to adopt.
Yule Logs and whatever else we've, you know, all the different things.
I don't know anything about that.
But you should look up Yule Logs. I mean, I've never had one, but apparently it's a pagan thing.
What is a Yule log? It's
a log that you burn in the fire, I guess.
Well, I've got 10,000 Yule logs behind my house. Then is there anything special about that log?
I think it's something special. And I see that's why we don't do it, because it's, you know.
I don't know. Is Yule a species of tree? Is that what we're talking about?
It might be a day of the year. I don't know what a Yule is. If you guys know what a Yule is, write in, let us know what that is. And
they know we're going to Google it as soon as we stop recording, Mike. Come on. Right. You've got smart listeners.
So, yes, I mean, that's kind of where we come down. And I think it's fine. I guess the main point is your kids are okay believing in things that aren't true. It's not going to, you know, break them. But at the same time, you and your wife have got to come to an agreement on where you're going to come down on this.
Yeah. Of course, if we didn't come to an agreement, I'd be the guy in the corner of Santa Claus, and you don't want to go up against that as a parent.
Or you could be Krampus instead.
What's Krampus?
You don't know about Krampus?
No.
I think I'm saying it right. Krampus? That's right. He's like the evil version of Santa Claus.
What?
There's like a whole, you got to check this out.
Is this from like a movie or?
No, this is like I think it's German or Russian or something like that tradition.
If it's evil, it's probably Russian.
It's probably Russian.
No offense to our Russian listeners.
Yeah, no offense, guys, but everything you think of is evil.
Yeah.
But it's like one of those old fairy tale type of things. I don't remember where it comes from. German, Russian, something like that.
Okay.
There have been several movies on it. But basically it comes to punish naughty children. So it's not like you...
Wait, was there a Krampus in the movie Scrooged with Bill Murray?
I don't think so. I think there was just... That was more like... the different ghost of like present,
Okay, never mind.
future, past, whatever. But the Krampus kind of has like horns and he's got like hoofs and stuff like that, but he wears like a coat kind of like Santa Claus. And he comes to
Satan
punish,
Claus.
basically, he comes to punish the kids that do naughty things. So it's not like you just don't get anything or you get coal. He comes to kill you, I think, or eat you maybe.
Wow.
So
so
there's a movie
it's
on
basically the positive reinforcement world versus the negative reinforcement world
Yeah.
in operant condition. Is that operant conditioning? I can't remember. But yeah, I think we might need to get this Krampus guy back in action. That might be a good thing for our society at this point. Got a bunch of kids are like, "Yeah, you're gonna give me presents anyhow. I might as well just be a little jerk." And then Krampus be like, "Yeah, I might come into your house and kill you.
Yeah,
you know,
might eat you.
Have you been a good little boy? Yeah, where's my coal? No. This year you get death.
Yep.
Merry Krampus.
Merry Krampus.
Merry Krampus.
So anyhow, Krampus, Christmas, Santa Claus, however you go, let us know. Put something out there in the Wolf and Iron community. We'd like to hear a good discussion on this. All right, 2019.
2019.
What do you got going on?
Dude, 2019 is going to be a freaking awesome year.
All right, let's hear it.
I've been away from home a ton in 2018. I spent 3 months in Ohio. I've been working in Virginia for the last 6 months, and I just got a territory in North Carolina. Like, when I first started looking at the company I work for, and I looked at all the different territories, I picked out the one that I was just awarded, and I said, that territory right there is the best territory in this company.
Yeah.
Just because it's geographically compact, tons of people. It's very close to where I live. The furthest I'll be from home is 2 hours. Like, it's freaking awesome. And, when I saw the opportunity, the company that I work for, when I saw the opportunity that I've got, I literally looked at my wife and said, I will go wherever I have to get that. And I'm not kidding. We looked at California. We looked at New Jersey. We looked at Iowa for some reason. We looked all over the place. And I wound up taking Northwest Ohio. God, I don't know if you guys have ever been to Ohio, but and I'm sorry, some of your listeners might live in Ohio, but
no, we don't have anybody in Ohio.
I was gonna say I would just box them. It's Ohio is just flat and cold.
They know what you're talking about. They're like they're all shaking their head like, "Yep."
I don't know. They might be used to.
They've got big deer up there, but I mean,
I hit 2 deer in Ohio this spring, but yeah, it was just Ohio was not my. We were literally going to move there and live there, and I was like, about week 2 in Ohio, I was like, we can't move here. Like, we're not living here.
Have you tried their chili?
Ohio chili?
Yeah.
You talking like hot dog chili?
Well, that's what we call it down here, but up there they just call it chili.
Okay, it might be similar to the hot dog chili like in and around Pittsburgh, which is what I grew up with.
Okay. No,
So,
it's
no beans?
yeah, no beans. I don't think.
Just like a spicy meat sauce?
Yeah, but it's not good.
Oh, well, the stuff in Pittsburgh is freaking awesome,
Okay.
so I don't know what they got going on.
You and I
Ohio.
might have a different opinion on chili, but there's something that there everybody raves about called Skyline chili, and
Skyline chili.
it's just not. I'm just sorry, guys. It's just not
Interesting.
not how we do
I'll
things.
check it out. There was a really good Thai restaurant next to the hotel I was living in Ohio. So you wouldn't think you'd find a good Thai restaurant in Toledo, but there's one there. Anyhow, spent all that time up there, been, driving a ton, getting back and forth to Virginia to work that territory, and finally was awarded the territory in
Nice.
North Carolina. And I literally when I first started looking at this map they've got on our website, I was like, that is the one territory in this country that I want to work. And was awarded that last week. I start there January 1st. Well, January 2nd probably. But things are coming into place in my life where 2017 was a horrible year. 2018 was all right, we're starting to turn the corner year. 2019 is going to be a freaking awesome year. So I'm really excited about 2019. I'm putting together a speaking program where I'm going to go to men's conferences, and the main theme or the main why of what I want to speak about is to awaken the warrior king that lives inside of other men, that lives in all men.
Yeah.
Just because I am so tired of seeing apathetic Christian men living their lives on the sidelines. It's a real pet peeve of mine. There's more that God wants every man to do than what he is currently doing, myself included. So I'm pumped up about that. I'm gonna start speaking at conferences second quarter of. I'm finalizing the whole message and speech and all that stuff between now and the end of the first quarter. Second quarter, I'm going to start presenting at men's conferences, and I don't know what God's going to do with that, but I feel like it's something I'm called to do. So I'm moving forward with that. Things are going good with my family. My kids are freaking awesome. So I'm pumped up for 2019, man. I'm ready to rock and roll.
So I remember 2017 being rough for you for different reasons, and 2018 being just a bust your ass year, get back on track with things. And then, I'm looking forward to 2019 for you as well. Yeah. But what I like about you, and I want to commend you on this, is that you knew it was going to be kind of a hard road that you had to travel to get back where you wanted to go. And, you've done it. I mean, a lot of guys wouldn't be willing to put forth the effort, but you put a plan out there. And you're getting back on track. And not only that, but I mean, you got the territory awarded to you, which is awesome from a job perspective, but from a heart mission perspective, the speaking stuff that you want to do, I think it's right up. I think it's, once again, you're putting something, you've got the vision, you're putting it in place, and you're moving on it. And I think a lot of guys, they just don't have that, and they need that. So good on you.
And I probably err too far in that direction. Like, I am far too willing to walk away from stability and certainty, and it's hurt my family. Like 2017, a lot of the things that went wrong in 2017, aside from getting blown up and spending 3 weeks in the hospital and 4.5 weeks out of work and all that stuff, a lot of the decisions I made from a career perspective, it was my fault. It was 100% my fault because I wasn't. I mean, I was miserable, but I was just not patient enough to do things in the way that they probably should have been done for my family's sake. But it is what it is. Everything happens for a reason. I am where I am for a reason, and I feel extremely blessed to have gone through everything that I've gone through. I'm blessed to be alive. I mean, I very well could have died July 1st of last year.
Yeah. We've never told that story on here.
Are you serious?
Yeah, no, we never told the story, but I think the next podcast we need to tackle it.
I was going to say, it's not a Christmas. That's damn sure not a Christmas story.
No. Next podcast, we'll tackle the story.
Holy cliffhanger, Batman.
Dun, dun, dun. Yeah. No, I think you've come a long way, man. And
you too. Look at what you've done the last couple of years. It doesn't look like it's slowing down anytime soon.
Well,
I hear your little elves out there working now.
Yeah, it's funny. So our CPA, our accountant, we kind of joked about how I was going to hire a bunch of kids, like foreign kids, to come over here. I was going to adopt them.
You could probably buy them, like on Craigslist.
Well, maybe, and just have them come and work and just put them shoulder to shoulder and kick out rings and whatever else.
Yeah.
But we haven't done that. But although they would be really cute this time of year because we just dress them up in elf uniforms and stuff like that, and they'd be like, "Feed me, sir."
Yeah.
But they would still be really cute.
How much do you get paid? 3 potatoes a day.
Thank you, master.
Yeah, right? I don't know
any
better.
Little Oliver Twist out there. Just
get them out of like Cambodia or Thailand. That'll be fine.
Better than what they got going on.
Awesome, yeah.
Yeah, and then turn them loose at,
You mean I don't 18? Poop in the yard? That's a little bit
other people.
Arrogant on our parts for laughing at that. Your privilege is showing.
So, anyhow, things are going well. 2019 is shaping up to look totally different than what I thought it was going to look like.
What do you mean?
So, my oldest son, Aiden, he's 19, was in college, has come back home because he's got something called PANS. So, long story short, he had something called PANDAS, which sounds really cute and nice, but basically it's a neuro disorder that causes, it's basically an compromised immune system where either your own immune system, I can't remember exactly how it works, or the antibodies in your immune system, they're basically attacking your brain, and it causes initially OCD, some anxiety. It can lead to things that look a lot like not split personality, but psychosis, or what's the word I'm looking for, when you're kind of like happy sometimes, then you're low other times. Bipolar. He hasn't gotten that far, thankfully. And in his first round, he didn't get that far. He just got some serious anxiety and some depression initially, and was going downhill pretty quickly. We got him a treatment. We thought it was going to be the fix, and he went off to college, and everything seemed to be okay. And he didn't really take care of himself in college, like a lot of kids don't.
Yeah.
And so he stayed up late. He's not eating enough food. He's already super skinny.
Yeah.
Anyhow,
I got the same problem.
He basically had a relapse into something called PANS, which is different than PANDAS, but it's similar enough that we're familiar with it. The problem is that Pandas is now covered by insurance. Pans is not, because it's it's kind of like an offshoot, and treatment's experimental.
Okay.
Treatment ends up costing like $45,000, which we don't have sitting around.
Oh, yeah.
Anyhow, so he's come back home from college, and he's going to either get treatment or he's got to basically get himself back into exercise and eating well and all this other kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But he's back home with mom and dad, maybe for the semester, maybe for good. We don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, he won't be with us for good, but he may be out of college.
You got to draw a line in the sand somewhere.
Yeah, he's going to go somewhere else eventually. But it's kind of not shifted us backwards, but it's caused me to say, okay, what's my bullseye? What's the thing that I really want to be focused on?
Yeah.
And it's always my family, you
Yep.
know. And here I got a chance to invest in my son in a way that I probably missed opportunities before he left, a year and a half ago to go to college. Now he's coming back. I get a chance to help coach and mentor more than I did before. Plus, he's going to need some time to recover and that kind of stuff. And if he gets the treatment, basically he has to stay away from people for a while because his immune system gets kind of reset.
Okay.
Anyhow, so there's a lot of focus and attention on that I didn't expect. It's also delayed the Foundry. That's not the only thing, but it's one of the things that's delayed the launch of the Foundry, which was going to be our membership site.
Mm-hmm.
I actually put a video out there on our membership on our Facebook group about this just yesterday or today actually. Anyhow, so that's getting pushed off, and so I'm going to focus more on Rustic, building it up. There's plenty of things that we still need to do here around the shop, so that's totally fine. I am going to launch something. I'm thinking it's probably going to be January at some point. Don't hold me to this yet, but called the Side Hustle Switch. And I've been wanting to put this course together for a while. I was going to do it after I launched the Foundry because that was priority for me. But the Foundry is going to be more work because I've got to be just more on top of things and building that membership group up. The Side Hustle Switch is basically an online course. And the goal is of the course, and I'm really excited about it actually, I've been thinking about it for a long time, is to help guys go from this, they've got a concept, maybe they started a side hustle of some kind, and they want to make the switch over to it being full-time.
Yeah.
And there's just pieces that everybody misses. There's things I didn't know until I did know them. And there's tons of information out there about being a leader, about marketing, about whatever, business growth, yada, yada. But it's just overwhelming. And so there's certain things that you need to know specifically to go from, I've got a side hustle, it's out there, I'm able to do it, maybe make a little bit of money. How do I take it to the next level and go full time? And so that's the niche that I'm going to be targeting. The whole thing is going to be called the Side Hustle Switch.
I like that.
And so it'll be a course coming out sometime in January, and we'll have more information on that.
Yeah. Maybe if I'd have had access to that course 2 years ago, I would have waited till I had some money in the bank to make my switch.
Yeah, that would have been part of the advice I would have given.
I made $5,000. I'm done with this place.
I'll have you on the course as like a what not to do kind of.
What not to do when you're thinking about switching.
Should you just quit your job without any real good plan?
No.
Probably not the best idea.
No, it's not.
But anyhow, there more information will be coming out on that. I'm actually excited about that, but once again, I just got to make sure it doesn't take me away from the main thing.
Yeah.
So
focus on what feeds you.
The other thing, I didn't cue you up for this at all. So if you don't have a word yet, but I did want to tell you guys that I've noticed that every year, well, 2017 this year, and then for 2019, I've had a word. And for the last 2 years, I didn't do this intentionally. Just the same word kept coming up. For 2017, the word that I had was being present or present. For 2018, it was mindful. And for 2019, it's going to be intentional.
Yeah.
I didn't know if you had any thoughts on like a word, if there's anything that you're thinking about for 2019. You don't have to have one.
I've got one, and you must be such a big shot that you forget that you liked my word when I commented in the group.
Oh, what was it?
Warrior King.
Oh, Warrior King. That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I was thinking because those two words. I don't know if it really can. No, it's good.
There's a hyphen in there, brah, ties them together.
That's right. Warrior King. That's right.
Yeah.
So thank you for bringing that up and reminding me and calling me out at the same time. So
You're a horrible group leader.
I know I am. No, it's a great word. And I think for the guys that are listening to this, sometimes New Year's resolutions can be a bit too much. But I think that if you can kind of search your soul a little bit and think, what is a word that you're going to kind of come back to and that's going to help guide you for that year? I even thought it'd be cool to get like a tattoo every year of the word.
Yeah, on your face.
That could be good.
Become a gangster rapper in like a week. I think it's all it takes is a face tat and an auto tuner.
Yeah. There you go. And you're set. So if you guys are thinking, I'd love to hear what your words are for 2019. To help something to help guide you that you really want to focus on and be about. And I've just noticed for me that's actually been probably even better than any of the resolutions I had.
Yeah, it's simpler.
Yeah, much more.
I like simple, and I used to set goals like, oh, I want to do this, or I want to know who do I want to be? What's my identity?
Yeah, that's good.
That's how you get stuff done.
Yep.
Decide who you are and execute on that ideal. That's a lot easier than I want to weigh 200 pounds. Or most guys would be like, oh my God, if I weighed 200 pounds, I'd be fat. But if I got down to 200, I'd be really happy. Whatever. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Instead of saying, I want to get in shape, I am an athlete.
Yeah, exactly.
I want to get out of debt. I am a money managing maniac. And just stuff like that. Come up with an I am. And I'm actually working through that process with myself right now. So
I think that's great. Yeah.
Yeah.
Identity. Actually, I just did a podcast with James Clear. He's the author of Atomic Habits. That'll be coming out.
Are you freaking kidding me? I just listened to that book last week.
Did you?
Oh my
so
God,
you and
I'd
I
love
are
to meet that dude.
You guys
we are.
There's a mind meld thing happening right now.
Keyed up.
So that's actually
Great
coming
book.
out right at January 7th, I believe, is when that podcast is going to drop. So right after the new year, I thought it'd be excellent. And there's so much discussion we have about that, about just identity and how much that drives what we do. So hang on. My wife has interrupted, even though we're recording a podcast. She has apologized.
Michael. Professional.
This is how I get summoned at my work.
But anyhow, that's so crazy. Have you read the book yet?
Yeah.
Oh, it's freaking awesome. I've listened to it twice, and I'm getting ready to buy a hard copy because there's a lot of charts and graphs and stuff like that. But it's good stuff. If you're trying to make some changes in your life, get that book.
Yep. And of all the books on habits, I commended him for being able to do something different, to kind of invent, I don't know what the right word is, but to just change things up a little bit on that perspective and on that topic, because there's a lot of books on habit, but this is different. He's got a different way of looking at things.
Yep.
Okay, well, apparently I'm needed, so we're going to end it here. Merry Christmas to you guys. Merry Christmas to you again, Brandon, and a Happy New Year.
Merry Christmas to you. I'm going to go Google Yule Log.
And Krampus. Don't forget that one.
Krampus.
Yeah, the images are especially
Maybe
good.
Krampus beats people to death with a Yule Log. Merry Christmas.
All right, guys.